Evening. My name is Christophe.
Let's make it as quick as possible,
attorney
please.
at law. Question directed to senior counsel, and Afra, you could come into as well. My concern is basically that with the FOIA Act itself, that I find of recent it has become more of a shield, and I say a shield for transparency and accountability, a shield against transparency and accountability. Myself very quickly too as well. I mean, I was part of a system where I worked for a particular ministry, and we actually sat down, and our job was actually to go through the exemptions and chalk mark off what the exemptions were, send it back to you. We look at the form of the application. We tell you, look, you have no signature on it, blah, 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 back home. And then you have to go find a lawyer. And that public interest thing works against you, because if you don't have the financial means to get a lawyer, then that's it. So the quick question is, Senior, how do we rein in the exemptions? What can we do to bring that law to be able to defend us properly and seek out the intention and the purpose of exactly what the Act is supposed to do?
Well, the Act really needed assistance, legal assistance, for persons who are refused information, because you have to find a formula as to when the public authority refuses information, what do you do? And in all information regarding states, you have to have a balance. You have to protect some information. They will ask to be exempted, but the only place or the only institution which you can depend on to do it independently and in a just manner is the court. And therefore, notwithstanding all the exemptions you have there, notwithstanding all that you have there, the court in any matter has the widest discretion to override the exemption. So it really needs legal assistance. And that is why I believe that the legal profession owes a responsibility in the absence of legal aid to give some of the time. It may be that through the Law Association, there could be a condition. In England, for example, lawyers have to do pro bono work as a condition of being able to practice annually. So I think what should happen here, in the absence of funding by the state, approach should be made to the Law Association for the Law Association to make it, to take steps to encourage lawyers and to probably make it a mandatory for a certain period of cases, but a certain number of cases, that you'll be able to help do some of these public interest matters. Because without that, it is very, very difficult. As a matter of fact, I have now before me a witness who was in the Witness Protection Program. He signed a form when he went into the program. They discharged him from the program, and he gave evidence in a very important murder case. They discharged him from the program, so he had no protection. He had threats over his life, and he went back to them, and they refused to put him back in the program. A letter was written, an application was made, and they are refusing to give him information for him to file a case in order to get protection. So, and they're using the public interest point. Now, what has happened, when the case was filed, the government retained about 10 lawyers, right? Take all sorts of technical objections. And the court is still processing the matter. So I sympathize with the point you have made, because I see it in operation. Now, it may be what we should have done is to probably put like an information commissioner or an information ombudsman, and be able to put some pressure upon the ministry with at least publishing certain things, and the information ombudsman might be able to get it, but you still have to have a right of appeal to the court. When we were doing the equal opportunity legislation, that is what we did, the Equal Opportunity Tribunal, and then we put it to the court. But there are still problems there. So it's not an easy balance, but I think that this, I do not know if you know this, but the international ethics and duties of members of the legal profession include giving lawyers, lawyers given to the public the duty of going in the communities, helping people to understand the law the rule of law and democracy, and taking up unpopular causes pro bono to assist the community.
Could I just interject to point out that you might unwittingly have overlooked in what you've been saying about
pro bono offerings of the legal profession? The disclosure today offers precisely that, pro bono assistance to the public in seeking to obtain information.
And we'll be talking a little more about that.
We have a question on the side here.
Good evening, everyone. I am Teocah, Trinidad and Tobago's representative in UNDP's Caribbean Youth Think Tank. My question is simple and straight. We speak of young people in participation. However, having engaged many young persons, they have strong opinions and a willingness to take action, but are deterred in doing so by fear. Fear of victimization, slander, and most importantly, loss of employment and income. What advice would you give to those young persons?
My advice, Teocah, just quickly, to say to you straightforwardly, that is the reason, that's one of the benefits of association. We have a constitutional freedom of association in our country's constitution, and the benefit of it, from my point of view, is that we can get together. So, for example, we have an organization like the one I'm in charge of, JCC, which is made up of other organizations. Individuals belong to those organizations. Those organizations come together to form our organization, and you select someone. In the case of JCC, it's myself or my predecessors. You select someone who actually is in his circumstances and have a mind to speak to the collective grievances of the people. You cannot always have a situation where individuals have the frustration or the intestinal fortitude to speak out. That's not going to work. You have to associate, whether it's in a trade union, and I know that there are trade unions for people who are in the public service, whether it's in a group of artists or a group of writers or something. You need to associate and make the practice of of conducting your grievances within associations. That's what I would suggest.
But in addition to, but in addition, I think that this is a real problem.
Yes.
It's a real problem because the government has been extended in so many fields.
Yeah.
And this is a real fear. I agree with you. People are afraid to take up, even to associate. And you see it in, you would expect, professional, some lawyers are afraid. I mean, you will go to some lawyers to take up a case against the government, and the lawyer said, no, I'm not doing it. And that is not the duty and function of a lawyer. The duty of a lawyer should be fearless, independent. So fear is a major problem in the society today. And,
yes.
And it may be that these persons could assist in different ways. They may not be able to come openly, but they can assist in different ways in the battle. They can assist with the communication. They can do different things, and other people who are brave enough can go forward. But there is a role for one to play, even though one is not vocal in the forefront.